Greetings and welcome to my video. Life's been a bit complicated and I haven't had time to play with as many things as I would like to in No Man's Sky, but I did just want to share a couple of really handy circuits that I've been playing with, just to share them with you and see what fun things you guys come up with. So the first one I want to share is this thing. This little compact circuit, which essentially just turns a switch into a button, because when I created my combination lock I used up all 10 buttons and then didn't realize I couldn't put any more down until I tried. And I really don't like switches because a switch has to be reset, and if you have people coming and going willy-nilly, possibly even being disconnected, you can't have them trying to remember to reset switches all the time. It just gets annoying. So I wanted to find a way to generate a pulse from a switch, and this was the simplest and smallest way I could find that works effectively, simply and relatively quickly. I did go through a couple of larger iterations over here which essentially do the same thing, but they are a fair bit slower. The only really interesting point about these two is that one has an output for 1 point and the other one has an output for 2 points, as you can see. So that one's got the on-off pulse on separate outputs, whereas this one is just one single output. I did make compact versions of the two. Didn't really like how that one turned out. I just don't like how it looks. I don't know why. I kind of like this one a little better. Both just function as the other ones do. But this one in particular does highlight the problem of building circuits like this, where you have to put in additional wires which do nothing. As you can see, there's a wire here that's not connected to anything. That's because connectors don't connect to each other, they only connect to a wire point. So as you can see, when I go to put down anything like a power inverter on top of here, all the connectors come out and it's ready to connect. But that's only because there's a wire there. If I were to put this down and then put one in like so, that top connection is not actually connected. There will be no power or any signals received between the two. You'd have to put an additional wire in to fix that problem, as I have done here. Now there's a little trick to building this guy to make it simple, so I'll just run you through how to put it together really quickly. And you can rotate it any way you like, so you could have the output on a different side or a different angle, different point, any way you wanted, but I'm just going to show you how to build it that way, and you can rotate it. So the first thing you need to do is just put down a power inverter. You will then have to connect a wire between these 2 points and then place one additional wire at an angle out at the top. Then swap back to a power inverter and place it so that it's facing out like so, and you'll notice that you can place it in nice and close and get as neat as you want to. That's good enough for me. Next step is to place a wire between these 2 points here, and then swap back to the power inverter and place one here that's facing in. And again, you can be as neat and tidy as you want. I don't really care, good enough. You'll then need to place a wire from this point out at an angle like so, so that way we can get our automatic switch in here to look nice and neat. Without this wire, you'll notice we can't place our switch in there. You can still connect them together like so, that I believe they will connect, but it will not go in nice and neatly. You have to put that extra wire in basically in the sequence that I've shown you to get it to work in a nice neat little square or diamond, whatever you want to call it. Now to wire this up, this wire we have put here, that is our power wire, so we simply connect that to our power, or we can delete it and put a new wire in connecting to wherever we need to go. So we just hook that up to power. Our switch is connected in the middle here, which you have to put in the end because you cannot build on top of a wire, in case you didn't know. So the simplest way is to just drop it out the bottom and then connect it to your switch, like so. That wire at the top there is our output. So we connect that wire to our light, like I've done here, or whatever it is that we wish to send a pulse to. And that is ready to go. As you can see, a pulse comes out the wire at the top every time the switch is toggled. So yeah, that's the simplest way I've found to build a little circuit that will turn a switch basically into a button. And it doesn't matter whether it's turned on or off, it will still continue to function. It also won't really receive feedback. Like if I turn that off, but then add in a wire here with power, you'll notice that you'll just get a pulsing on one side. So even if it receives power, it won't send output back through here. Whichever side is off will just pulse. It's not a tremendous issue, but possibly one of note, as it may even be useful to know, is there power coming back in? Well, then you can have a light flashing to indicate yes. The other little circuit I want to show you is this guy. I have a love-hate relationship with this one in particular, because I discovered this accidentally while trying to make a circuit that I couldn't get to turn off. And I discovered that this was the problem because I was trying to use it as a one-way circuit, which it sort of does. If I send power from this side, it will flow through, and if I try and send power from this side, it won't flow through. However, if power at any time comes through at this side, it will no longer turn off. It will remain on as long as it is receiving power from the bottom. This is because automatic switches work on that side being more like a toggle. So once it receives a signal saying it can send power through, power will go through, and it will then tell it to continue to send power through. So you end up with an endless loop. This can actually be quite useful because that's now essentially a 1-bit memory. So whenever it receives power from the bottom, it will remember if it has received power at any time. And a simple way to call the output would be to just plug an automatic switch in. You can even plug it in like I did with the compact circuit here, like so. Now if I were to put, well, a button, it could be a switch or any way you want to query it. I connect that to power, and I connect that to the top of here. I then connect my output to my imaginary light right there, and now whenever I push this button, it will tell me what has been stored in that circuit. As you can see, the circuit's empty, so nothing came out. But if the circuit has received an input, now when I push the button, it tells me yes, there is an output. So I find this circuit really useful. I've actually used it in everything. It's included in my counter. I've also used it in my combination lock, just about everything, because it's quite handy to be able to receive a pulse and store it rather than work on a constant flow of power. A sequence of these could even be used to create an 8-bit memory circuit to store 8 bits of memory. I have sort of worked on something for like that, but it started to grow a lot bigger than I wanted for the simple purpose that I had it for, and I kind of gave up on it at the time. And there's a lot of issues and a lot of problems to work out, and I think someone much smarter than me should have a crack at it, and they'll probably have already done it. But that's just a couple of little circuits I wanted to share. I hope they were interesting. and if they were and someone finds them useful, I look forward to seeing what you create with it. That's all from me. Take care, happy exploring, and we'll see you out there.